Hey guys, Martin here bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we're going to be taking a look at the EZA for XENO Goku from the Heroes batch of EZAs. We've done the Vegeta one already. Obviously these guys are very similar. Their kits are almost identical apart from a couple of minor details. So we do have them full level 10 links, built for mostly additional with a little bit of dodge, because of course he is a support unit, so he's not really on the team to do damage, he's on the team to be buffing everybody else. So he has the 150 lead for the Goku family. He greatly raises attack and defense, which is an infinite stack, does supreme damage, and has a 70% chance to stun. So in events where stunning is still a possibility, that is obviously very good, very helpful. And then his passive, attack and defense 150, he gets 50% damage reduction and a guaranteed additional super on the first turn only. So 50% damage reduction, obviously very good. Additional 150% attack and defense when there's another Goku family or Heroes ally on the team, and it's just the one and they just have to be on the team, so obviously very good. He supports Goku family allies for 3 key and 50% attack and defense, and then we get an additional 77% attack when performing a super, and an additional attack that has a high chance to be a super if there's a Dragon Ball Heroes ally in the same turn or an extreme class enemy when attacking. So obviously, just like the Vegeta one, we're going to do an event where we're fighting an extreme class enemy. We are doing the Boo stage for this one. But the thing is, it's going to be more interesting for this Goku, especially when the new units come out. Because, of course, we know that the new main headliner is the Universe Tree Goku. So, of course, he will be a Goku family ally, but he's also a Heroes unit. So this Goku will be directly supporting him, and then regardless of whether you're fighting an extreme enemy or not, Goku is going to get that full buff. So we're starting out here with 284k defense. We've got Super Saiyan, Saiyan Lineage, Kamehameha, and Prepared for Battle as our active links, so that is pretty good. I've basically just put together a 200% Kamehameha team with the Gohan, but every unit other than the physical trio are a Goku family unit. But we're going to have them on the other rotation, just there, kind of providing that extra defensive support anyway. So it doesn't really matter too much that they are not a Goku family character, right? Because they're not going to be getting any support from Goku, but they're not going to be on the same rotation as him at any point anyway. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. So we start at 7.8 million. And just like the Vegeta, he is going to be jumping up to over 400k with the first super. Then he goes up to at least 5.5. And then, of course, if we do get a third super, it's it starts to hit 700k, which we do get here from the hidden potential, up to a 9 million attack. And, of course, he has 50% damage reduction on this turn as well. So tanks the normals to double digits. So it would have been nice to see him eat a super, especially on the first turn, only, really, where he's got that 50% damage reduction. But 3 supers in one turn, obviously that is a good start for getting some stacks off here. So who have we got in slot 7 was Dragon Fist Goku. I think Dragon Fist Goku might have experienced fighters. He actually links relatively well with Dragon Fist Goku. Because bear in mind, just like the Vegeta, I talked about it in the video for him as well, but the Vegeta is a unit that, and this Goku, they are support units, right? So we wouldn't normally be keeping them on rotation. So we would be having if we had these starting rotations, I probably would keep Goku on rotation just so we can get be back again sooner to get the extra stack. But with Dragon Fist Goku being in slot 7, we obviously would get to the next turn and probably the rotation would be AGL, Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku, Dragon Fist Goku in the middle, and then Xeno Goku in slot 3 to provide support. But obviously we're going to keep him on rotation because he's the unit that we're showcasing for the video. And that is something to keep in mind, as I said in the Vegeta one, is if you are floating stacking units, they obviously appear on less turns, and so therefore that means they are going to get less stacks overall. So that is something to keep in mind. You know, in a showcase setting, we're keeping them on rotation, trying to get as many attacks off with them as possible. So, you know, we're going to see him get up to numbers that if you're putting him in slot 3 every time when you're running him in an event, he's not necessarily going to get that high. There is a lot of RNG involved as well, right? Because if we get a couple of turns where we don't get a lot of additional supers, then of course he's not going to build up as much. Whereas in this showcase setting where we're keeping him on rotation, if we get really lucky with the RNG, then that's what I mean, when he's going to get up to numbers that you're not necessarily going to see if you're floating him every time he's on rotation. But obviously for a showcase, we want to see like the potential of what he can get up to. So we will see how we get on here. So are we going to finish off this phase? No, I guess the Boo does have a lot of HP. So I kind of want to put him in slot 1 just so we could see the actual, like, make sure he definitely gets an attack off here. But he shares Super Saiyan and Saiyan lineage with you, and then just Super Saiyan with you. I swear he came up on the, I swear this guy came up on the link thing with more links than that. Obviously he's going to get Kamehameha when we actually get the key, but yeah, that is a little bit disappointing. I guess we could do this, but we're on 795k defense on turn 2 here, which is pretty decent. Again, like with the Vegeta and the Goku, they are just support units. They're here to provide buffs for the team. They're going to be able to build up to a level where they can tank normal attacks relatively well, but obviously if we take them into tough events and they get hit with a super attack, they are going to take a lot of damage. So it's just one of those things where you kind of have to get lucky with the RNG a little bit. Obviously, you know, with things like the Pepigao event that came out recently for Global, some of these events we can still attack lower and stun, which will be useful for these guys. I mean, like, take Bulma, for example. I still, now that that's new out on Global and we've gotten to try it out a bit, I still really don't think that that stage is a good stage for, like, a showcase stage. Because, like, just getting through the first 2 phases can be an absolute nightmare. But once you do get to Bulma at the end, even if you do too much damage in phase 3 and you get like the God Bulma for phase 4, she can be stunned. So obviously in that kind of situation, this Xeno Goku could be really, really good because he can potentially get like 3 supers in one turn. After the first turn, obviously, he can just get the one from his passive and then the hidden potential. So he could get 3 supers in one turn, and then obviously he's 3 separate 70% chances to stun. So that is definitely very, very good. Let's do this. Just rely on UI Goku to actually get the dodge here, and then do this. So, but yeah, like, and Vegeta lowers attack, and it's greatly lowers attack as well. So whilst that still means he could be in danger from a super, if you get a turn where Vegeta does like 3 super attacks against an enemy who can be attack lowered, then you are very drastically nerfing their attack power, which is going to be very, very good. Like I say, super attacks are still going to be an issue for these guys, but I think that's kind of the case with like any support unit, right? Any character that we would classify as like, this is a support unit, their role is to be on the team, floating in slot 3, buffing the rest of the team, then like, yeah, realistically, they're not going to be a character that is surviving very well against like big super attacks, right? And that's just the way it is, right? You put them on the team to buff everybody else, and that's what's one interesting about the Goku. Like, I was really looking forward to the Vegeta to try him out on the Vegeta team, but this is a really good example of a team where he can be really good in the Kamehameha team, because, you know, especially mine's only 55%, but like fully rainbowed, the Gohan, if you get enough of the orbs, like the family Kamehameha can be one of the hardest hitting attacks in the game. And then you imagine like you got Xeno Goku on rotation, giving him an extra 50% support, as well as like sharing a few links with him. Like, this guy's going to be very, very good. Like Super Saiyans, Kamehameha. There's a few different like builds for that team where you are largely using Goku family characters. Obviously you've got like the Goku family team as well. And then, like we said at the beginning, with Heroes, the new headliner for this year is a Goku family unit. I think I mentioned in the Vegeta showcase, I'll probably use him on the team when we do the God Trunks EZA showcase, because yeah, he is a Heroes unit that just got an EZA as well, and he is a Vegeta family character. When all those characters first came out, like, that was a really good rotation to run, because back when Xeno Vegeta first got his awakening, like, he could stack up fairly quickly enough that at that time in the meta, he could actually be a slot 1 unit after he'd gotten a few supers off. And so the rotation of him in slot 1 and then God Trunks was actually pretty good. I don't know if he's quite at that level at this point with how much these difficult bosses super attack in slot 1. But for this guy, the new headliner is a Goku family character. So if, like last year with Limit Breaker Vegito, this universe tree Goku is up there with arguments for being like the best TUR in the game, then this Xeno Goku is obviously going to be very, very good on that new version of the Heroes team, because he's going to be providing huge support to that universe tree Goku. So we're at 833k defense here. So let's see what we get now in terms of supers on this turn. Obviously, you know, RNG plays a huge role. We mentioned that in the Vegeta one. I've mentioned it before with this guy. Like, you are potentially going to end up getting turns where he does his main super attack, the attack from his passive is a normal, and then you either don't get the hidden potential or you just get hidden potential normal. So he just does one super attack in the turn. And then, of course, he isn't going to be stacking as quickly. He's not going to be as tanky. And, you know, there will be tough bosses that even their normal attacks will then potentially start to do damage to him. But, yeah, see, there you go. One super, additional normal from the passive, no hidden potential. Now, fortunately, we only got normal attacks. But, I mean, even though this Boo event is quite old now, right, being from Golden Week, like this STR Buhan, I imagine, would do a pretty decent amount of damage to Goku with a super attack. Which would not be ideal, but again, he's I guess it's just part and parcel of the package when you are a support unit. There's been very few support units in the history of the game that are like incredibly good tanks as well as providing support, outside of the occasional, like, there's always the exception, right? Like, I mean, we're using the physical Super Saiyans on the team, so like the fact that they are a unit that are very tanky, but also like provide 77% defense to everyone on the team for 2 turns, which is just crazy how good that is. But yeah, let's that's kind of awkward. Do I want to keep, I probably do want to keep them on rotation. Yeah, I always bring Senzu beans for using this as a showcase stage, because I do quite like it because the event is a little bit longer, but like the first phase and this phase do have status effects that are kind of annoying for a showcase, because obviously the first phase can seal, so it's always super annoying when you come into the stage and you have a like, it happens so often where like I'll start the stage, the showcase unit is on the first turn, so it's like, right, cool, let's jump in and get going, and then literally jump into the first phase and the showcase unit gets sealed. So it's like, right, well, got to use the first Senzu Bean here straight away. And then you get to phase 3 against this Butenks, and then it's like, oh, the rotation unit got locked, the showcase unit got locked in slot 3. And I already used my Senzu Beans in phase 1 because I kept getting sealed. So it's not the perfect showcase stage for sure. And obviously, like, as I said, it's an older stage now. It's not super, super difficult. But I think the big thing that I've said it recently when someone's commented on like the stages that I've been using for some of these videos, like the showcase, initial showcase, when I first show off these characters when they first release or they first EZA, it's just to get a good view of the numbers that they do. Like, how many turns, like, in are we, what defense is he stacked up to, like, what kind of attack stats is he getting, and then we can see, like, oh, okay, well, if he's on turn 7 and he's got this much defense, then in a more difficult event, like, we can tell, like, how much damage he's potentially going to take from certain attacks, whether they be normals or supers. Whereas if we jumped directly into, like, Janemba, the chances are we're going to die on, like, turn 1 or 2 multiple times. And even if, like, you know, Goku might not be on turn 1, and then we just die on turn 1. It's like, okay, well, start again, I guess. So he's at 954k defense on turn 7. We haven't been getting lucky with the additionals, so that is unfortunate. I think what we could do here is we can go ahead and use the Senzu Bean, and then put you in slot 1 and activate the standby. So now we've got our slot 1 tank, and then we've got Goku in the middle. So with the Gohan, we've got Super Saiyan prepared for battle on Kamehameha. We get Saiyan lineage from you, so we've got 4 links active. Now we are at 999k defense, so he's just under 1 million. So obviously he goes over 1 million here when he actually gets the super attack off, which is good. So let's do that. Let's see, can we actually get an additional super on this turn? That'd be nice. So obviously Gohan's going to tank everything because we've got a decent number of orbs and he's got type advantage in this phase anyway. So he's going to tank everything nicely here. Goku up to 10.5 million on the attack stat. We get the crit as well, which is nice. We do get the additional, so we go up to 11. So he should be at around 1.1 to 1.2 million defense here. And then we get the hidden potential as well. So he's potentially up to anywhere between 1.3 and 1.4 million defense. Which does mean that for most bosses in the game, like, he is going to be tanking their normal attacks. And this is something that I mentioned, like, a little bit earlier on. But obviously there's a lot of the more difficult bosses now. It's still RNG, and they do still super in slot 3 sometimes, which is super annoying. But a lot of these bosses now, for the more difficult events, they are supering in slot 1, like, fairly often. So, you know, hopefully, chances are more often than not, Goku is not going to get caught by a super in slot 3. But, you know, at the end of the day, it is going to happen sometimes. But it's not like a problem that's unique to him. I don't think it's something that necessarily, like, makes him a bad unit. It's something that just is part and parcel with, like, support units, right? Like, even someone like Super EZA Kid Buu, who has really good, like, damage reduction that builds up, provides a lot of support to the team, can hit relatively decent attack stats and get relatively decent, like, raw defense after supering. So he's a unit that I think is kind of cool to run on, like, the slug team. But in a tough event, if he gets super attacked in slot 3, then chances are he can get you killed. And it's just kind of like the risk you take when you run support units. I mean, you can make an argument that you just shouldn't run support units and you should just run a team that is full of, like, strong defensive units. And that has always been a strategy throughout the meta of Dokkan, especially back when the Hybrid Saiyans team was one of the best teams in the game. It was a slow team, but it was very, very strong defensively. And so obviously something like that is an option for these kind of teams. So let's see if we can just go off in slot 1 here and maybe not get immediately supered by Buff Buu. I mean, Buff Buu does actually hit quite hard. So if Buff Buu super attacks Xeno Goku here, I'm pretty sure that we would just die. But we get the Dokkan attack. We're at 1.4 million defense. So when he supers here, he's going up to over 1.5, close to 1.6 at least. Which is cool for normals, again, of course. But type disadvantage against the, like, you know, end game event, even though this is an older one. Super attack from a type disadvantage boss is obviously not going to be good for him, but, you know, it is what it is, right? So we get the super, we do get an additional as well, 12.5, so he's like well over 1.6, even over 1.7 million, and then we get the third, 3 super turns in a row, so he's potentially up to like 1.8 million defense at this point, which is really good for a unit that's doing fairly solid attack stats and then providing 50% support as well. Like, Dragon Fist Goku at the end here, I think only shares like 2 or 3 links with Gohan, and he's dropping a 15 mil attack and then additionally into a 16. So, I mean, Xeno Goku definitely seems very, very good. Good buff for the Kamehameha team. Super Saiyan team with a strong, like, Goku family setup. Like, I think both him and the Xeno Goku, Xeno Vegeta 4 support units are definitely very solid. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. But yeah, I think he's pretty good. Let me know what you think. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.